This is a wonderful turnout. Thank you guys for coming. Am I working the mic close enough? You can hear me okay?
Yeah, very good.
The story I'm going to read tonight has sort of a fun history. The first time I read it was on the stage of Slim's nightclub in San Francisco. 6-foot-tall woman in a black sheath dragged an enormous garbage bag on the stage. Up to the mic, reached inside and hauled out a cock, threw it away. Reached inside and hauled out a Hitachi, threw it away. And reached inside and pulled me up by the hair and stood me at the mic and bowed and left the stage. And the story had just been, Susie Bright with Best American Erotica did a reader poll, and this story was selected as one of the erotic stories of the decade.
Right.
Pleased to be no end. Big, hungry woman. She barreled along the beach like a locomotive, the imprints of her feet stretching far back along the edge of the Pacific. Matt couldn't take his eyes off her. Cheese and quads and tits. Awesome. He pictured fucking a chick like that, tearing off the soaking wet high cut that barely covered her magnificence, and plugging her. She was at least his own height, more than 6 feet, and massive. Her trunk and shoulders were huge, her breasts outthrust towers of flesh, her belly as corded with muscle as his own, her pistoning thighs as thick as his torso. She had a dark face, Polynesian maybe, with broad, hungry lips, sculpted cheekbones, and oiled black hair that hung in a tangle of ringlets. She turned enormous dark eyes toward him as she passed. They flicked down over his long blonde hair, his muscled body, the proud lump swung in his red thong. And he gave her a sexy, swaggering grin and cocked his hips. She reeled back in a wide turn. Close up, she towered over him, took his breath away. She took his hand and, smiling, pulled him back toward an alcove in the cliffs. This wasn't the usual way babes hit on Matt, but he flashed her a foxy grin. Her hands were hot. Hold on a minute. Her hands were hot and sure as she leaned him back against the rock. She ran her fingers over his face and then over the knotted dragon newly tattooed on his shoulder. She pinched his nipples and palmed his pecs. His anus clenched suddenly, and the sensation bulged through his perineum to tingle the tip of his cock. She ran fingernails down his belly, hooked fingers into the sides of his bathing suit, and ripped the seams apart. A tatter of cloth dropped to the sand between his feet. Her smile spread and spread. He thrust his purply cockhead toward her crotch and reached for her giant boobs, but she knocked his hands aside. She wrapped one hand around his stiffy and grabbed his balls in the other, leaned her full weight against him, opened her mouth, and kissed him. Matt had Frenched babes, fucking them with his tongue till they struggled for air, but no chick had ever done him that way. Her mouth was hot and thickly wet. It smeared itself all over his face, and then her tongue probed him. It ran up under his lips, slid back, and wrapped around his molars. It arched against his whole palate, and then snaked under his tongue, twisted around it. He felt it reach back and hook his tonsils. She laughed a deep, long laugh right down his throat. Her nipples were twin 45s against his chest. She pulled back and eyed him up and down. "You're one hot chick?" he wise asked, trying to keep a sudden, unanticipated tremble out of his voice. She broke into a monstrous smile again and licked one of his still down cheeks, and then the other, the flat of her tongue. She ripped her bikini top off and pulled his head to her breast. Her nipple had a faint, sugary taste that filled his mouth, her breast covering his whole face. A hot hand pumped his cock, raising him right to the edge of coming. He couldn't think straight, sucking one whistling breath after another through his nose, half suffocated. He pulled away. I'm Matt, he offered, trying to regain the initiative. Are you from around here? He laughed the same funny laugh again, welling it up from way down inside her, and pulled him onto the other breast. She squeezed his balls till he squirmed, then slid her hand over his ass to run a long finger up into him. He felt a surge of anger, but when her pussy lips slipped over the head of his cock, his protest died. He didn't seem to enter her, but her lips slithered along his whole length, enveloping him. She moved like a wave over his body, titanic, irresistible. She pulled his head up and kissed him again, her mouth oven temperature. He breathed her breath, sweet, flower-scented, heavy with heat. She filled his lungs, then sucked the air back out of him. His cock racketed to the brink of detonation. Matt's head whirled with pictures. The long-legged redhead and her mousy girlfriend he'd done acts with last Saturday, humping the two of them against a blur of surf roar all night long. The green-blue pipe he'd run last winter's big breakers. The kid who tried to suck his beery cock in the john of some bar. His hips were moving of their own volition. I gotta be inside this chick. The big woman pulled him a few steps back from the rocks, laid him on the warm sand, and dropped full onto him. No, on top, he thought. I gotta fuck this chick. But it was too late. Hips locked between her steel thighs, his cock disappeared inside her. His head fell back. Her smile was blinding above the blue horizon of her breasts. Her eyes were bottomless. Her laughter churned his cock. She grabbed his hair, fucked him, gigantic. All thought of resisting vanished. She fucked the air out of his lungs. Her cum was tectonic, a tsunami of surges and belly laughs that milked him dry and left him screaming. Guys will make cum noises, some corner of Matt's mind thought, but she stuttered over him and he cried out again. When she laughed, his spent cock squeezed out of her with a pop. She licked his face again, bit his lip with her white, strong teeth, then slid up until her dripping pudendum scooped over his face. And she began to fuck his mouth and nose. Matt had never eaten pussy. Oh, sex is for chicks, but now he did. Her taste, her smells were meaty, fertile smells, flooded his brainstem. He licked, he lapped, he gobbled her juices, flailed his face back and forth across her thick lips and straining clit. In the moments his mouth found air, he panted and howled. His heels scraped the sand. His cock, loaded again, wet and red, slapped side to side against his thighs. As she climaxed again and then again over Matt, she ground harder and harder against his face. Wait. Her vagina gaped and his face sank to the ears of her. He tried to shout, tried to somehow suck air into his lungs. She thrust again. His head popped inside her. Heat, wet, massive muscle, darkness. Her movements were tidal now. Her laughter, a huge resonant chord inside her body. Matt's arms flailed wild in the air, fingers clutching nothing. She pushed harder. One shoulder slipped to the side. Again, and both arms were pinned to his sides. Help! The heat from meaty slipperiness reached the line of his nipples and then his hips. His crimson cock was jacked straight down between his legs, peeping between his vibrating thighs as her lips enveloped his ass. His feet kicked in frenzy as she enveloped his thighs. She grunted and pushed harder, head thrown back, huge eyes rolled up in ecstasy, ropey loops of cum flung out of his straining cock. She rose to her knees, holding her breasts to the sun. Tidal surges of pleasure sucked him into the knees, past the shins. Finally, only the crinkled, bleeding soles of his feet and his frantically wriggling toes showed. She rumbled in deep satisfaction. His toes fumbled her heavy, hooded clip one last time. She rose to her feet. She arched her back and stroked her belly. Her immense, dark eyes opened again to sea and sky. Satisfied, hungry. The last pink remnants of Nat winked out of view between her legs. The sun dropped toward the ocean. A surfboard and a twisted red cloth on the sand. The woman dwindled away down the beach, her elongated shadow rippling and dancing over the sand and the seaside cliffs. Even from a distance, you could see she was a big woman.
Didn't see that coming, did you? Maybe you did, I don't know. Okay, Raffle Sisters, oh, where are they? Oh, there's one. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. It's the tickets for Twisted Holidays, Cabaret de Caliente and Juke Joint at Hot Monk, Friday, December 13th. So we have 2 tickets. Oh, I already got one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, we've got 2489211. Any takers? 2489211? No? Okay. Oh, yes? Oh, well, how are you going to prove this is your number? If you lost your ticket, go get another one. But somebody has it? Oh, okay. Yeah, if you lost your ticket, go tell them, get another one, because we still got chances. All right, we got a winner. So if you could just go and speak, because we need, I'm going to have to give your name to them.
Oh, okay.
This is what you get. No, come over. Come over and take it. And then go maybe and write down. Can you write down her name and everything? Whoever else is the ticket going to go for. And also Julie, sorry, while you're here.
I know you already wrapped it up, but can you get the erotica salon thing out of here? Yeah. I'll wrap it back up.
All right. Okay. Oh, next we have Michael Lorraine. Michael Lorraine is the author of 3 novels, 5 collections of poems, and 4 children's storybooks. Is the owner-operator of Flowers Not to Reason Why. Is the father of Wilder Kathleen, the Rage of Paris Lorraine, and has for over 45 years been a senior partner in The Way Up, Firm and High, Tail It Right Out of Town Detective Agency, a loosely aligned confederacy of shady characters devoted to the complete discrediting of reality in our time. Okay, please welcome Michael Lorraine.
going to read a silly poem and then perhaps even sillier poem list.
No, it's fine, yeah.
The first might prove rather awkward in that my last and only copy of a book of mine called Just One Drink for the Diamond Cutter that came out about 34 years ago turned up missing this morning. And I had this poem in my laptop, but my printer then died. So I was left with my only recourse was to read it from the laptop. This is as high-tech as I've ever been. Importance of lovemaking. Inside of me is a fat man in a suit and tie, always running for a bus, which he never catches. He stands on the sidewalk, humiliated, breathing heavily, and has to wipe his glasses. Inside of him is a beautiful woman, a belly dancer in a smoky cafe, walking her wildfire around the room, flowering with the sounds of hungers, eating other hunger. She sits on the laps of the customers, using her long black hair as a curtain thrown over their faces to cover certain indiscretion. Inside of her is a cat, an alley cat, lean and cool. When he yowls, the field mice hold very still. When he yowls, the sea can feel it along its eagles. The devil has orgasm in his yowls. He watches the dancer and teaches her about the moon. Inside the cat are 6 cartridges of pure oxygen, created when the clawed hammer of your clitoris pulls long, reluctant nails out of my body. Somehow, and this is the part I don't understand, the cat passes a cartridge to the dancer, and she hands it to the fat man. Perhaps this happens behind the curtain of her hair. He pops it under his nose, he pushes up his glasses, he straightens his tie. He is revived and unhumiliated. Personally, I don't care much about any of them. I'm on the bus and long gone. This is a bit of a come down for me, and this is the first time in, well, my rather long life I've ever needed to wear reading glasses on the stage. Many years ago, my lady and I were separated for a year, but for brief weekends when I was able to visit her in Southern California, or she was able to escape from Southern California back up here to Sonoma County. I was still young and ardent enough that these separations caused me something approaching an agony of pent-up desire. Thus, this one of my many notorious poem lists called 101 Things to Do on Our Reunion. I want to know my wife. I want to caress my mistress. I want to embrace my beloved. I want to please my squeeze. I want to honeyfogle my best girl. I want to hold my honey in my arms. I want to stroke my sweetheart, Heather, and yawn. I want to bop with my sugar mama all night long. I want to make my steady unsteady. I want her to know I'm already ready. I want to make love with my own true love. I want to sit a spell with my hellion. I want to rearrange my angels under things. I want to see a lot of my enamorada. I want to turn our bodies into a liquid tandem bike. I want to divert my mermaid's waters. I want to ball her in the breakers. I want to smooch her in the surf. I want to reach her on the beach. I want to get my baby wet. I want to tangle the teacher lady's linens. I want to kiss the curls of my girlfriend's neck. I want to take a few liberties with my licorice whip. I want to play around in the strangest ways. I want to slip around with my soft giraffe. I want to fool around with my dearest friend. I want to jump my genius. I want to have my way with her day after day. I want to enjoy a dalliance with my fiancé, to become the melted pliers of my heart's desire. I want to strangle on her fresh squoze pantyhose. I want to stay a little longer with my partner. I want to stray from the bounds of propriety. I want to stone my Colleen to her soul. I want her and I to lose control. I want to rock my one and only till her back ain't got no bone. I want to dance my dulcimer around till dawn. I want to gaze into my godsend's eyes and recognize the garden. I want lingerie burns wherever she likes. I want to graze on her candy-coated thighs. I want to be a pilgrim between her sighs. I want to come up slowly so as to depressurize. I want to prowl the back alleys of my pretty little thing. I want to dine in my darling's private car. I want to breathe her gardenia's darkest crime. I want to be an open invitation to hope and inspiration. I want to beg her indulgence by force of charm. I want to dishevel the creamy little devil. I want to make her whisper like Lucifer's little sister. I want to make her laugh like a diamond in the Caribbean. I want to make her moan till she's all undone. I want to taste the places where she's white as radish. I want to tap the maple where she's mourning under me. I want to ladle moonlight over her every limb. I want a photo of her freckles on the desk where I work. I want to preserve her laughter for winter. I want to grow lightning dependent, I mean those legs. I want to tempt her into my tree fort. I want to tantalize her right downtown. I want the shadow of my panther to turn into her leotard. I want to swing her around. I want to lift her up. I want never to set her down. I want to make it last and last. I want to waltz her right past the envious wheat. I want to ruin her reputation in the first base coaching box. I want to fondle my lady with the wisdom of candles. I want to murmur little flowers all along her skin. I want to predict the tremor, then make it come true. I want to reckon her depths by intuition. I want to unwind the world with my twirly girl. I want to turn her back into a violin. I want her soaking and aching and asking and high. I want her speaking in spirals and gospeling back. I want to rub her feet until the word gets on the street. I want to drop breadcrumbs inside her sleep. I want her perfectly still, but did you hear a faint splash? I want to make her shiver in the malt shop. I want you, doll face, all dressed up for me. I want you anointed and gleaming for a night on the town. I want you drowsy and careless. I want a bell on you somewhere. I want you half smashed. I want you with one foot in the stirrup, riding to warn the others. I want you hypnotized by dusting powder. I want you out of your mind and in the shower. I want you at the top of the swings. I want you behind French doors, my fedorable one. I want you in Irish lace, my up-country lass. I want you folded infallibly as the shade still in a seed. I want to place my paramour in hot water. I want to do more than dream of a daughter. I want to get down while the getting's good. I want to writhe and twitch with my willow switch. I want to cut loose with my lover. I want power steering and no brakes whatsoever. Let's not restrain my mad queen. I want to conjugate my cousin by a previous mirage. I want the bride to be held over for just one more week. I want the power and the glory and the wife everlasting. I want to go all the way. Reading glasses are out.
Can I get a hallelujah? Okay. Gather ourselves back up. Thank you, Michael. Next, we have Dangerous Dolly. You may have seen this next performer in the Vagina Monologues or doing burlesque. She is also a fetish model and lifestyle dominatrix. Tonight she shares with us a glimpse into her world. Ladies and gentlemen, Dangerous Dolly.
Tonight I'd like to share with you a very good book, one of my favorite books. It's called She's on Top. You can find it at the Spice Store in Roanoke Park. And if you have ever been there, you have to go there. So I'm going to share with you one of my very favorite stories.